let's jump to running back. Who are your top 5 backs for week 15?
So Chris McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, Dalvin Cook. I had Aaron Jones briefly as my RB3, but it sounds like AJ Dillon cleared the concussion protocol already or something. So he's back down to RB7 for me.
Yeah, I got Henry first, McCaffrey second, so flip-flop those. Eckler third. Barkley back up into the top 5 at 4. I told you Barkley didn't get right last week, even though it was against that tough D. Like, it's just that the Giants they were gonna go all out for that one. But I think they're still in it now. They still have to go hard, and this Minnesota defense I think is gonna be friendly. And yeah, Jacobs 5th as well. Who are you high on?
So as always, I'm high on Latavius Murray. I have him as my RB15. The consensus is still RB24. I think you and I are always like super high on him. But the market just continues to overlook his usage. I mean, he's the workhorse back right now. He had a massive 24 carry for 130 yards and a touchdown rushing line against Cardinals. He only caught 1 pass for 12 yards receiving, but he's still maintaining the highest routes run rate at 39% last week of this backfield. So even if it becomes a trailing game script, he'll chip in more receptions. So I think either way we can bank on him being a pretty solid RB2. And this week, the Broncos are slight favorites against the Rams. So this is another good game script for him. So I continue to be high on Latavius Murray. And then the other guy's a little bit more under the radar, but Chuba Hubbard. I have him as my RB35 right now. The consensus is RB41. They faced the Lions this week. And last week he only ran 4 times for 10 yards, but he caught 3 passes for 57 yards. And his underlying usage was pretty good. He saw every single snap on 3rd down and in the 2-minute offense. So he's pretty much the lead receiving back, the Christian McCaffrey role. But he also handled more early down snaps than Deontay Foreman. Foreman struggled. It just so happened that those early down snaps, they threw more when Hubbard was on the field, but there is a chance he could see more rush attempts than Foreman this week, especially if this game script ends up being a trailing one, which could be the case against the Lions. So, he's sort of a leap of faith, low end RB3 flex option this week if you're desperate. And he certainly has more value in PPR formats, but we could sort of be seeing a changing of the guard in Carolina right now, and Hubbard is definitely on the rise.
Yeah, he's been moving up my board. I actually do have him at consensus this week, but in general, I've been high on him. He is kind of cutting into that Foreman workload a little more, and Carolina's back is starting to get a little bit unpredictable. Sometimes Blackshear's involved too. Sometimes he's not. But yeah, Foreman had a really bad game, so maybe that works in Hubbard's favor.
Yeah, luckily last week Blackshear had 0 touches, which kind of helps. We definitely want like a 2-man committee because this team runs a lot. So I think both backs can have value this week. But yeah, that's a good point. Blackshear having no touches last week definitely helps both these players out.
I am high on James Conner. He's another guy. I feel like both of us are usually high on. I have RB7. He's RB12. I know he's going against Tampa Bay, but this guy's playing 94% of the snaps. Like he's playing. Like, what is this old school Christian McCaffrey usage? Like it's absurd. Like even against that Denver defense, when the Cardinals couldn't get anything going, James Conner still found his way to the end zone. Got a bunch of touches, caught some passes. I really like the way he's playing. He's starting to play like he was down the stretch last year, and they're just not taking this guy out the game because they cut Benjamin, and for whatever reason, Keontae Ingram gets a couple snaps a game. So until that, every game where he keeps getting 90+ snaps just raises his floor because you're gonna with running backs you have to factor in the more recent usage a lot more than some of the other positions. So. Love James Conner this week, and Zach Moss as well. He is a guy who I think looks like he's going to lead the Colts backfield. Used to be Deion Jackson was that number 2, but Jeff Saturday, we haven't seen really, what happens when Taylor's out under Saturday, and we finally did, and it was Zach Moss out-snapping Jackson 67% to 32%, and Moss got 24 touches to Jackson's 14, and Moss even ran more routes than Jackson, which I think is interesting because right now I still have Jackson projected for a few more routes just because based on, kind of the players they are. But if Moss has the upside to lead the backfield, not just in carries, but in routes, he could be a top 10 back. He has top 10 upside this week. I have him RB31. He's RB37 consensus. And if we get more clarity on exactly how they're going to be used, I might bump him up even more because this Charger D is 25th in DVOA against the run. Very generous to running backs. So Zach Moss could be one of those guys in your fantasy playoffs. If you picked him up on a wire,
oh God,
I mean, he could win you your league. Just going against the Chargers. And listen, Jeff Saturday. I mean, what is he going to do at this point? He just blew a 33-point lead. Like, hand the ball to Zach Moss, man.
Yeah, well, to be fair, they probably blew it because they kept feeding Zach Moss.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, that's a good point. He's my running back 29. And
okay, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, like he dominated the early down work, which we'd expect. Let's just, Jonathan Taylor got hurt early in the game, so we saw how they're going to use these two backs.
Yeah, exactly.
Zach Moss dominated early down work. Like you said, it was surprising. He just absolutely dominated third down work as well. I don't know if that's because they were up 30 points for most of the game. Could be. And he's probably going to see, goal line carries going forward, even though he got like a minus 5-yard run on one of the goal line snaps. So he's basically the Jonathan Taylor role where Deion Jackson's the pass catching back. So if they do get in a trailing game script, I would be worried that he would kind of, dominate snaps. But this should be a close game against the Chargers. Like you said, it's a good matchup on the ground. So yeah, I think Zach Moss, I guess you could trust him as an RB3 flex option. If you have no other choice, I would do it. But I would also point out that Jordan Wilkins, he was on the practice squad. Yeah. So now that they elevated him, he might eat into Moss's role just a little bit. But, I'm not projecting for more than, 2 or 3 touches. I'm not sure where you have him, but it's worth pointing that out at least.
I have Wilkins for...
because he was kind of the Moss role before they got Moss.
I actually have Wilkins for about 5 touches.
Oh, okay. And you still have Moss as like a... okay. Yeah, that it just goes to show. There's plenty of touches to go around to provide value. But he's getting all the important ones, and that's all we care about.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like he was... and remember, they traded for him, too. So...
Yep.
This is, I know it was it's the same GM, different coach, but they obviously want to see how this guy looks. They traded for him. So I would expect him to keep, you don't just give a guy 24 carries 1 week and abandon him the next. So
exactly.
I wouldn't think anyway.
And going back to Connor real quick, I was getting, someone was shitting on me on Twitter, like, why the hell do you have Latavius Murray and James Conner ranked over J.K. Dobbins? And sure enough, they both ended up outscoring him as always. But
J.K. Dobbins it looks really good though.
No, I know, but he doesn't get any catches, so that's why I ranked him a little bit lower. But yeah, all those 3 guys, they're grinders. But I feel like every week we're super high on Latavius Murray and James Conner. Once again this week, same story.
So many snaps. All right, who are you low on?
Let's see. I am low on Brian Robinson Jr. He's my RB38. The consensus is RB28. And let's face it, he has been absolutely phenomenal, especially lately. It's 85 or more rushing yards in 4 of the last 5 games. However, he just gets a downgrade here. It's a tougher matchup against 49ers, who rank 2nd in DVOA against the run. It's going to be a trailing game script most likely, which definitely hurts Robinson. That sets up way better for Antonio Gibson. And, Washington has the 5th lowest team total. You said to look out for some of these low team totals. So, that lowers the odds of Robinson bailing out with the rushing touchdown. So a lot of reasons to not like him this week. So he's a low-end RB3 flex option for me. Should be a, smash RB2 play next week against the Browns, though. So definitely hang on to him. But, yeah, he gets a downgrade for me this week. And then the other guy is Rachaad White. It's unfortunate. He's my RB33 this week. The consensus has him RB25, but this is just a tough position to be in this week if you have either one of these Tampa Bay running backs. Last week, White and Fournette, they split the early down work. However, White's role in the passing game slipped significantly. He had a 30% routes run rate, his lowest rate since week 9, and that's kind of the role we want this week facing the Cardinals. They're a funnel defense for running backs and tight ends in the passing game. So, White actually saw most of the third down work, but at Fournette saw every single snap in the 2-minute offense. So that makes it really tricky to project this going forward. I think his routes run rate will bump up probably 40% this week if that holds, but it just makes it so uncertain. So he's sort of a dicey RB3 flex option this week, just given the uncertainty, which is unfortunate because it looked like he was going to be an RB2 the rest of the season. So I'd just be careful with him this week.
Yeah, I actually have both of them projected in the top 26. I have White at 26 and Fournette at 23. Like I just have both of them balling out.
It's just unfortunate that just neither one of them really dominated in any capacity last week. It's like it's split down the middle.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. It's like White starting to get even out in the carries, but Fournette's continuing to see about 60% of the receiving work, and White's more at or 60, 65, and White's at 30, 35, 40. I'm low on Robinson as well. And another guy is Cordero Patterson. We're starting to see Tyler Algier take hold of that backfield. And last week we saw Algier get, more of the carries, and that hasn't happened yet this season in or actually it has, but it's happened very rarely. And especially when Patterson's been healthy, and Patterson is healthy now. They were coming off a bye, and Algier still saw more of the carries, and Patterson saw more of the routes out of the backfield, but that's not really that valuable with Desmond Ridder throwing for 97 yards a game. So, and Algier had a monster game last game, but more importantly, it's going to be a tough matchup for both of them, but especially Patterson, if he's getting less carries and you're going to have to rely on receiving work a little more. This Baltimore defense, they're not giving up much against the run, but they're top 10 in DVOA against both the run and the pass. So I just think with a slight bump down in usage, with the quarterback potentially throwing for even less yardage than Mariota, I got Patterson at RB 38 this week, and he's a 33 consensus. So Patterson is a guy that I'm trying to bench if I have a better option at the flex or RB3.
That's a good call, and it's actually a segue to my player prop, actually.
Okay. What are we doing?
So Tyler Algier, rushing yards. I have it. Let's put it at 56.5.
Ooh, that's a good one. I have it at 58, so I'll go over.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it's a good line. Baltimore is tough run defense. But, the volume for these Atlanta backs and now Huntley's out, so you could see a couple.
That's true.
An extra carry or two for each of these guys. So yeah, I have it just over.
Yeah, no, Algier's good. Like I remember coming out of the draft. What was he, a 5th rounder? I thought he was a sneaky late. We didn't really know how this Falcons offense would turn out. I had no idea it was going to be this run heavy, but he gave me serious James Conner vibes, and that every week he reminds me more and more of James Conner. So hopefully, the last couple of weeks, why even throw a Cordero Patterson out there at 35 years old? What does he have to prove? Just unleash Algier, in all ways. And with the Huntley injury, it would not surprise me if he just closed out the season with a bang. So but he's on this, he's right there. He's my RB 36.
Yep.
So he's really tricky to project. So he's a guy that people might be wondering if they should start or sit. Like you said, I think just based on the matchup, he's more of a sit, but just if you want to bet on talent, I think he could provide a pretty high floor these last couple of weeks.